Hey, look at this. We're moving up in life, guys. We got a wiring cart. This will make us a little more efficient here at the shop. Okay, you guys remember this Honda? Yeah, well, it's back. The owner of this Honda, you got to see in the last video, his name's Dave Green, and he had that, maybe the last 2 videos, he had that one car I had over here, and I was gonna like roll it out, and I had it on those little wheel dollies there. So that's this guy's car. He's our friend. That's why we allow a Honda in the shop. You know, we like Hondas, but we like rear-wheel drive cars more, so nothing against Honda, the company, or Hondas. This might be one of the only Hondas you'll ever see in the shop. So he got the idea after having the car back at his house for a while and doing some of the coding that you see and upgrading some of the things and doing work on his own, that he wanted us to cut this portion out, which is the OEM rad support. Hopefully, if we're lucky, Joe will come back over here. Maybe, maybe not, but he has like the full master plan of what he was gonna do.
Yeah, so what I'm working on right now is I welded 2 nuts into his frame rails, and these brackets, I'm gonna trim them down once this bar is welded to it. But that's gonna hold basically the little chin bar? No.
Well, there's no radiator, so support bar for the bumper, which is like a shell, basically.
Yeah.
For drag racing.
So this will go up from those brackets and come up and meet with this top lip of the bumper, and then 2 bars are gonna come from these corners here, which we'd kind of like cut everything off there and cleared it out so it's nice and clean looking. There's gonna be a bar that comes like underneath the fender here, and this bolts to the fender and then turns this way, goes underneath the headlight here, and then shoots down and catches this bar where it goes right there. And there will be a little tab for that guy as well.
Whoa, so you got a lot more trimming and bending to happen.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe not so much bending, more trimming.
Yeah, more trimming, but should be good.
Yep. And then next we're gonna make handlebars for a motorcycle. No. That reminds me though, remember on Orange County Choppers, they'd be like, oh, and they'd bend their own handlebars, but it's very similar, and then you're like watching them and you're like, really? And they're gonna sell that motorcycle for how much?
They have the
yeah.
Monkey, whatever.
Yeah, ape hangers.
Ape hangers, yeah. Those suckers.
Yeah. We gotta get this car on a lift because we're gonna plumb the radiator for him too and put a Mazir water pump in it. We'll swap Rory's car with this car at some point. We could show you more underneath it. We're gonna order a bunch of XRP fittings for this car because he wants fuel coolant done by us. Rory, we could do fuel and coolant with Rory at the same time. Might as well just do a lot of hoses and crimping that day. Put the order in and then possibly go out to XRP because Dave over at XRP has really wanted me to put this air over hydraulic system onto my hand pump for my crimper. Maybe it's time to do it right now, you know, in the next week or so, like, or a couple days or so. Maybe go there on like Monday or something and have him like throw all that stuff together for me on there, and then I could do like a little mini tour of XRP's facility. Maybe I could get some of that on film for you guys. I gotta ask David about that. That'd be cool. And then we can update you guys more as that car goes. And then a couple of you guys had asked, maybe it's a couple weeks ago, whoa, Boo's here, and he's not camera shy anymore.
Is the boss here?
No.
No.
But look, Supra, Boo's Supra. So, non-BVTI 2J. GTE, and then it has the log manifold and Borg Warner S300 on there. He has a single fuel pump setup with the Walbro 525, which would be like, comes in the Hellcat, brand new Hellcat, so it's good for over 600 horsepower on the 85, and it's the 85 compatible. He's got a lot of wiring that's taking place. He has an R154 transmission behind this 2J. He has a nice big 3.5 inch drive shaft, and I think he has 4-inch exhaust all the way back. Well, let's see. It has like it starts at 3 steps, 3.5 steps up. Then it goes to 4-inch, and then he has a Supra exhaust setup on here that we had to cut and modify a little bit because there's a SC300, so a couple of the bends weren't lining up, and it wanted, like, instead of it coming out where it should, it was like kind of over here. That's just typical exhaust. Looks similar to this under there, but then it heads over this way. It's got TT Supra wheels on it. It has a Pro EFI 128, favorite ECU. Pro EFI, and we are basically making a custom wire harness from Pro EFI's flying lead setup because he didn't have the right wire harness. He had a non-turbo NA harness that would have been in this chassis to begin with. That's not going to work. Maybe a couple of the plugs work, yeah, but lots of them don't work. And then he had a VVTR harness, which that's not going to work. And I think he had a non-VVTI Aristo harness, right? Yeah. He had 3 harnesses that he had accumulated, none of which are the correct one to like go to that side of the motor, because like an Aristo harness is going to end right here for the ECU, like we've said before. So then what are you going to do? Extend every wire all the way up and over there? Probably going to be quite the hassle, so, and very time consuming. If it was a right-hand drive car, you could imagine extending it 3 feet. Still just as big of a hassle, but if you already had the correct harness to begin with. But the Aristo harness was like kind of beat up and the clips were all, I don't know, just, we kind of like cut the clips off of every different given harness to piece it together to make this happen. And then there was still some that were just deteriorated and wouldn't work, and we had to buy, let's say, about 8 new clips out of everything so far. The Pro EFI flying lead harness is not, I wouldn't say easy, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You guys saw me do it over there on that car and it worked. We're gonna do it here. It'll work good, but if for a do-it-yourself guy, might be a little over the top. But you could always pay a shop to do it. The reason I'm saying it's not that bad is because these are all labeled. So they tell you every wire that it is, but then you still gotta route them. You're still gonna have other stuff to do, like, you know, run at least a couple fuses. Like we have that there for his little mini fuse setup, and then we go from those fuses, might power up a couple relays, like for example, coil and injector relay, fuel pump relay. The ECU doesn't have a, well, the ECU has its own relay, but the ECU has its own fuse as well. Simple but complex at the same time. So that's that car. His goal is street, 600 horsepower streetable. Maybe later he'll have dual pumps and he'll go for more horsepower, but his transmission would not like that. So let's see how it goes. Oh, and we did full custom XRP fuel line kit on this one with the Pro Plus crimp PTFE, and it has a flex fuel down underneath. So there's gonna be a pretty solid setup. At first when he brought it here, I don't think he was gonna go this far with it, and then he saw like how we do the work here and some of the other cars, and he said, I just want to do it right the first time. So he did. So that's what's happening with Jason's SD300 and David's Honda EG. Alright, see you guys. Bye, Pooh.
See ya.
Hey guys, remember Mike? He was with us at Winter Jam. Here's Mike Z. Why is Joe making so much noise? Mike has a 350Z, it's pretty cool. Wanna see how much more cool it is? It's got an LS with twin turbo. Twin Borg Warner S300 with a stroked LS motor. I think Joe's cooking breakfast for himself. Mike dropped his car off last night. He is trying to fit all this with his radiator in the front still. I think it's gonna work barely. Everything's gonna be really hot. So we're gonna mod the radiator a little bit on the end tanks and like cut some space out of each side. It's gonna get crazy. And Joe's making as much noise as possible. Wait, he won't have a tow hook anymore?
He will. That's on the other side. I just pulled it out because it was in the way of me laying it flat.
Thank God, tow hooks are important, right?
Yeah, so I'm notching this out basically so I can get this to sit flat up against it and give us a little bit more room, because there's not much room between the
plastic
support and the plastic core support there.
Treadstone intercooler, guys, 1300 horsepower rated, dual entry, single exit. Now we're gonna go get some materials for this project and a couple other projects, but while we're gone, Joe's gonna do some cool stuff with metal and building things. So this is the beginning stages of, Mike did the install of all that stuff, but it showed up like this to us with the front bumper on and that front crash beam installed. So Joe pulled the bumper, crash beams off, notching it out. Then he'll put the radiator probably back in and out a couple times. Same with the intercooler, find out how we're gonna mount the intercooler. And then the crazy part is doing piping around a radiator, fans, intercooler, coolant lines, and we need to make an intake. So this is why V8s suck in a way. They're really good, but they don't fit good in anything unless you have like some monster truck car, which we don't like those big giant cars, so it's super tight. Okay, Joe, fine, make a bunch of noise. Obviously V8s are cool, but then like, this has so much space on either. You could literally put like a baby in its cradle right here laying in front. Like, think about how much space there is. So much space for activities. Like, I can get my arm in here. Either way, to each their own, right? We like V8s. LS is probably my second or third favorite motor besides the 2J. I really like inline 6 diesels from Cummins, so